There are many myths about verbal section. Some says that it's so easy, ho jayega, and why it is just known as VARC, verbal ability and reading comprehension, and why it's not just important to score good in this examination, but also it's quite challenging. We will understand that. So without further ado, let's get started. So now guys, we will understand on what score, what percentile you're going to get. Now, if you think that verbal is easy and I'm not going to pay attention to it, and there are people who never pay attention to verbal, they keep verbal for the last week before the CAT exam, you're here for a shock. And please do not repeat that mistake. If you see and if you compare with the quant section, in quant section you're supposed to get just 27 marks to get 85 percentile. Yes, you heard me right. It means 85% of the students who appear CAT examination are unable to score even 27 marks. But in verbal, it is challenging given the fact that in verbal also, just like quant, you got 34 questions. For every right attempt you're going to get plus 3, and for every incorrect attempt, if it is with the multiple choice question or if it is a multiple choice question, you got options to select answer from, there is a penalty of -1. How many questions are MCQ and how many are theta? Type in the answer. We will be learning about that. But just like quant section, this section also got the same number of questions and the same number of marks. But then you are supposed to get 42 to 44 marks. Yes, you got me right. 42 to 44 marks if you want to get 80 percentile plus. That means if you are going to get around 42 to 44 marks, then only you will be getting 80 percentile or more than that. If you want to go more than 90 percentile, you should be scoring 50 to 54. Now, to get 50 to 54 questions right, you have to get around how many questions, guys? Do the math. You will get to know what the answer is. But then the challenging part of verbal is the accuracy. In quant, you can see the options with the numbers if your answer is not mentioned. If the number what you have got after attempting the question is not there, you won't be attempting it, so you won't be facing a negative penalty even if you're not right. But then in verbal, you'd never know, you'd never get to know what is the right answer, because there you have no clue what the right answer is going to be. You select the answer and then you pray to God that yes, I might be right. So accuracy is a challenge. Because accuracy is a challenge, it becomes a little tricky. Not just that, you need to score more in verbal section to get 90 percentile plus. 65 will fetch you 95 percentile, 80 and above will fetch you 99 percentile plus. So this is what exactly you have to score. If you want, you can pause this video, you can check the score and the percentile. Now, first thing first, questions apart from reading comprehension. How many questions are there under reading comprehension and why I have taken these questions separately? I'll explain you that in a while. Now, there are 34 questions as I said, but out of 34 questions, you are going to get para summary or conclusion based. That means a summary, you have to find the summary, best possible summary, or the conclusion or the inference of a passage. You will be given 3 questions and theta based. That means type in the answer. You have to select that option A, B, C, D. And then because you do not have options here, there is no negative marking. Para jumble paragraphs, 4 or 5 lines. Usually 5 lines are there. They are jumbled. You have to align them into a sequence and you have to type in the right sequence. For example, if the right sequence is DCBA, ABCD are the lines given and the right sequence is DCBA, you have to type in that. Like that, you're going to get 4 questions. Selection of the odd sentence from the jumbled paragraph. That means which sentence is not the part of that paragraph. Just like para jumble, it is going to be the same question, but the only difference is you do not have to align them into a sequence, but you have to find out which sentence is not the part of that paragraph, which sentence is not the part of that jumbled paragraph. So like that, again, you're going to get 3 questions. You can take plus minus, +1 -1. So more or less, there are going to be 10 questions like these on these topics, and you do not have options. So that means you do not have negative marking. Now, do not get excited that there is no negative marking, because without options, it becomes even more challenging, especially in parajumble. Now, proceed further. We got to know how many questions are going to be there apart from RC, but in RC, you're going to get 24 questions. Yes, 24 questions here, 10 questions, which I've already mentioned. But then for RC questions, you're always going to get negative marking. That means if you attempt a question incorrectly, you will be getting a negative mark. Now, guys, this is what CAT examination is till now. We can only predict and assume what is going to be in CAT 2020. We cannot assure you that this is the way it is going to be, but more or less it's going to be some or the other in the same format. So 24 questions are going to be on reading comprehension, and that is why it's so important, and so it becomes so important for any student who is appearing in CAT examination to make sure that they read regularly. Now, reading and writing with comprehension based on analysis of the data given is what CAT examination is going to judge you on. Now, people ask me this question a lot. So, what CAT examination verbal section will be judging me about? It is going to judge you about reading and writing skills with comprehension based on analysis of the data given. What do you mean by comprehension? Comprehension means nothing but understanding, or the comprehending, understanding of the data given. Analysis, you find ifs and buts of. And what is the data? Data is the information given. So this is what exactly it is. I hope this small presentation will help you to get the idea that verbal is not something you take for granted, and from the beginning you make sure that you keep on reading and analyzing. Remember this thing, guys. It was and it is always about why. It was never about what. After reading the passage, you have to ask yourself why something has happened. You won't be getting questions on what, you will be getting questions on why. Thank you, guys.